sorry about that. I said, this has never happened before. So a historic 20th episode with Sir James and Lady Galway. On our new broadcast, please do comment. We are giving away, I don't know if you two know this, we are giving away what we're calling a Galway gift basket.
Ooh.
Of a little trinkets from Flute Specialists to one lucky viewer chosen at random from the comments.
Oh.
So as we get reset up and hopefully Facebook does not cancel us again, please be nice to us, Facebook. And let us know where you are joining from and what you're drinking. And we will, and any questions that you have for Sir James and Lady Galway. So you're laughing and I want to hear your joke. So our this idea came because as we were coming up with some idea for our 20th episode to make it special, I said, what if we did an evening episode? And many people said, well, who drinks coffee in the evening? And I said, well, we could make it Irish. And I said, maybe Sir James would join us and help us to make it Irish. So here you are.
And it's wonderful to be here, isn't it, Sir James?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So I'm hoping we will see some comments popping in here and hopefully people will find us. I'm waiting to see if I'm getting any sorts of panic SOS from people. Where are you? Where are you? Hopefully they will find us and join our conversation here. And while we do that, and as they join, I'm going to read a bio about both of you. Some fun facts about you, even though I think most people, I can't imagine a flutist who does not know Sir James and Lady Galway. With over 30 million recordings sold worldwide, extensive international touring, frequent television appearances, tireless promotion of the arts, and his passionate work in music education, Sir James Galway has been a household name for decades. His uniquely expressive interpretations of the flute literature span an extensive range of genres, from classical masterworks to high-profile commissions, and provide the benchmark standard for all modern flutists. He has also collaborated on film soundtracks such as The Lord of the Rings and partnered such popular artists as Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Joni Mitchell, and Sir Elton John. The diversity of Galway's repertoire reflects his impressive musical range and has served to establish him as an artist of the very highest stature. An accomplished flutist, Lady Jeanne Galway, continues to grace the international platforms with her virtuosity. One of the leading female flute soloists of the decade, Lady Galway brings to the audience her unique style and elegance, appearing regularly as the premier flute duo partner with her husband, Sir James Galway. The two delight audiences and bring a rare freshness to the platform, unique in the music world. A strong advocate for the importance of music education in the school system, Lady Galway is a native of New York and a graduate and former member of the flute faculty of New York City's Mannes College of Music. Welcome, Sir James and Lady Galway. What are you drinking today? Hi from Greece, it says. So someone has found us.
Water, Swiss water. You're drinking
Swiss water.
We're both drinking Swiss water. Mine has bubbles. I like the bubbles, and Sir James likes just plain water, right, James?
Yep.
He's excitable enough.
And you're joining from your beautiful home in Switzerland. Would you love to tell us about it?
Go ahead, James.
No, you go ahead.
Well, we're looking out at the Lake Lucerne. We have a beautiful view here. We have the mountains in front of us. It is nighttime here, but the lights are all coming. It's a clear night tonight. So we're on Vierwaldstadtersee, it's called, and we have the mountains and the Alps behind. It's the beginning. The Rigi is the beginning of the Alps, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're just where we have Mount Rigi. We're actually, Doppler wrote a piece, and Turner wrote some wonderful,
Painted some
wonderful paintings. And many musicians have lived here. Wagner has lived here. Rachmaninoff's villa is just across from here. And we've been living here. I've been living here my whole married life, and you've been living since you left the Berlin Philharmonic. Huh?
Yep.
Lots of friends, lots of music, the Lucerne Festival, and it's very central, of course. And we have our flute festival here when it's live. So, and it's got a great airport, so it was always good for traveling. That was also one of the reasons.
And you may already know, many people don't. People ask me all the time if my last name is German, but my last name is Swiss. My husband is 50% Swiss, which is where I got that name. So you're
Aha.
probably some of the few people who would pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, Neuenschwander. Yeah.
My father-in-law would say Neuenschwander.
Neuenschwander. Neuenschwander. Yeah, Neuenschwander. I thought it was Neuenschwander. Neuenschwander. Yeah. Swiss German. Anyway, well, and from where in Switzerland? Do you know?
I don't have that information very well at the ready right now. I should.
Well, it would be in the German part, so maybe you'll come and visit us one time.
I would love that.
It'll be a nice cup of tea or some coffee or some water or more.
Or some coffee. Here I am. I didn't do my cheers. I usually do a little cheers with my Flute Specialist mug. We will absolutely send you some.
Cheers.
To our casual chat today. So you have some instruments. We're a flute store, Flute Specialists, and we'd love to hear about your flutes.
Sir James, talk about your flutes.
Well, two of the flutes that I brought today are rather special because they're only one off. And one is a golden broger, the real thing made by Mr. Broger himself.
I'll get it.
And the other one is an alto flute made by Muramatsu.
And your Cooper is here.
And of course my Coopers are there too.
The Broger flute is amazing. It's very interesting too. It's funny. People say to us all the time that they get their flutes repaired all the time and they never work, and flutes they don't, after a couple of years they're no good, they wear out, they're not like violins. Well, we feel differently because our instruments have been in the safe and some of them not played in concert for many times, and all of these have been picked up today and they all play. So I think, and you would know this too, if you take care of your instrument, then it will have a little more longevity. Of course, these are very well-made flutes. So this is the Broger, Jimmy. Do you want to, if we can show this, this is an amazing flute, and it's the real Broger.
There's the famous Broger thumb key.
Beautiful.
And it has special. The keys themselves are rather special.
Yeah.
Hand me my telephone, please.
Oh, excuse me. We have to fix the volume here for him. And this flute would have been made. What's very interesting, and Heidi, that's why I had, when we were corresponding, I wanted to bring to the attention of the students that, all these flutes, Sir James used to spend a lot of time with flute makers over the years discussing flutes, and Powell and Muramatsu and a lot of these companies have actually said that it's because of Sir James that there have been such improvements on the flutes, because when we would go on tour, we'd spend time and he'd say, I think this would work better, or you do that. He wouldn't say, oh, you have to change the scale to make it more in tune. Maybe it needs to be a little fixed. And what do you think playing that flute after so many years? How does it feel?
Amazing. It really is amazing. I think Brewer was a very special flute maker.
And for those students who maybe are not familiar with Broger, they probably know it from the Miyazawa name, but he lived in Denmark, and we used to meet him at concerts when we were on tour there. How about the Cooper next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
We do enjoy Cooper flutes as well. And at Flute Specialists, we say, play them and we will fix them. I agree. You can keep playing the flutes as much as you'd like, and they can be repaired by a good shop.
Yes, yes, and this is really important too, which we should talk about after he's doing the demonstrations about that it's very important to bring them to a place like your place and places that are very reputable. And can you explain a little bit about having this flute made and that this was what you used when you first started your solo career?
Yes.
Can you explain about that time and talking with Mr. Cooper and designing this flute?
Well, the first thing I have to tell you is that every time I played in London, Mr. Cooper came to the concert. And then after that, we would discuss, should we change the scale? And I never influenced him to do it. This is a Cooper scale on this flute.
Mhm.
And I think it plays very well and gives you a lot of possibilities. You know, the scale on a flute, you can have any scale you like, but it needs to be pliable. You need to be able to sort of get middle C down without too much trouble,
Mhm.
things like that. And I think Cooper did a very good job on making all these notes accessible to the player.
There's a nice documentary, and I don't know if we can ever get a hold of it, that the BBC did on Sir James being at Cooper's place and how he used to make these flutes. Can you explain about
Oh,
because this is really interesting. And for you students, you should really read up on Mr. Albert Cooper because he was very innovative in the flute that you have today, no matter which flute it is in your hands. Okay.
right.
But talk about how he used to make it with the hot stone.
Oh, yeah. He made everything by hand. I mean, when you sell a flute and you tell a person, this flute is handmade, well, it isn't handmade
Mm.
because the keys are made somewhere else, like China.
Well, not all flutes. I mean,
Not all.
Muramatsu makes them
Okay.
right there.
No,
We know that as a
Yeah.
fact.
But they're not made by hand.
No.
They're made by machines. And I suppose the machines are hand operated.
Well, digital, I think, too.
But anyway, let me get back to this thing. Albert made the keys himself, and he made them by melting the gold and putting it. He had a potato which he cut in two, and he forced the gold into the what do you call it?
It was a tube, wasn't it?
Yes,
It was some can or something.
it was a can.
It was very rustic.
Inside was the
The form? I don't know. I wasn't there.
The mold.
The mold.
And in order to get the gold to go into the mold, he put a half a potato on top of it, and it cooked the potato. And with the steam that came off the potato, it forced the gold into the
Mold.
mold. And there you had it. And then after that, he had the potato.
Instead of French fried potatoes, it's flute fried.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s, which I know that many people maybe were not born yet, there wasn't such a variety of gold flutes at that time. I remember as a student in the 70s, I was a student at Julius Baker's class, and James Galway was making his debut in New York with the Mostly Mozart Orchestra, and he came as a guest to this class, and he opened his bag, and he had this flute and some other gold flutes and started passing them around, and none of us had seen gold flutes. So it wasn't like today, things change. And so this is so special, the way each key is made, and we are making a documentary on these instruments and photographing them. The reason why there hasn't been a big documentary or a book about all my husband's instruments and my instruments is because of security reasons for us, because we like to stay private. I know a lot of people will take pictures of them, but we will because we feel that it's owed to the flute players. Now here, for instance, are all these, well, they're not four-leaf clovers, they're shamrocks on the, and it has his name, James Galway, on there, which is his signature. And at that time, they didn't do things like that, although Rudolf Hart, he did a lot, right?
And this is a real diamond.
Ah.
And when I told Albert I wanted to put a diamond, he said, "A diamond? I can put a piece of glass on it. It'll look just like a diamond." Albert, we're going to put a real diamond in there.
And also the A flat key is longer. Also, this is very very special. And the other thing is that many flutes, and I know American players might not think that this way when you're young, because I didn't know about this, but they're and you know this, Heather, that they're pitched at different pitches. So this particular flute is A442, but your other gold Cooper flute is A445.
Right.
Which he used in the Berlin Philharmonic because it was higher. And we'll have to show you that on the next episode. But this is a very special flute. And the reason why he stopped using this flute on tour was because of all the wear and tear, and that you needed two instruments that were exactly the same, which was when you came into the relationship with Muramatsu.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the reason why he, because, and you also had trouble, I think, getting the pads because they were different.
Yeah, because Mr. Cooper made different size holes. As you go down the flute, they became a tiny bit bigger.
So you can imagine touring and playing. At that time, we would play, 27 concerts you would do in 1 month, and we're not kidding. Iowa would have been on it too, and so would have Chicago, New York, and everywhere. It would have been more than a month because my husband never arrives on the day unless it's a drivable concert, like an hour or so. But so the flutes did get a lot of wear and tear. So that was when you decided that you needed two that played the same and that you could get repaired anywhere. And so then we come to a very special instrument.
Oh, good. There's more.
Oh, we've got lots. I know I told you I wasn't going to get so many, but we decided. Or should we show the other one with the diamonds first? Well, this is special. You show that one.
This is an alto flute. 14 karat.
This is the Muramatsu, is that correct?
Yeah.
And it's 14 karat keys, aren't they?
I'm not sure.
But they are gold. They are gold. Yeah. So it's solid gold. And what's fascinating, this is a wonderful flute. It has all the engraving with JG here. Wait, let's see if you can see. You can't really see it. It's upside down anyway. Well, we have diamonds, and we have on the cap, which we have also on our other Muramatsu flutes, is a, let's see if you can see it here. There we go. It's actually a figure of my husband standing.
Can you go a little bit more to your right?
To my right, yeah.
Perfect. Beautiful.
And so here, then you can also see the initials here. And I know, like now, everyone does this, but at the time it was very special. But what's really special about this flute, besides all the engraving on the keys themselves, you see all the engraving, is JAMESGALWAY. The letters of my husband's name are on this flute.
Wow. What an honor.
So this was really special. And here's a great thing to see too, Heather. You'll appreciate this. The back, the thumb key.
Ah.
But let's explain why you got this very expensive flute, Sir James.
Oh. I commissioned a flute concerto for a friend of mine. Sam Coles.
No, but it was originally for you. Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't originally for me. I didn't have time to play it, but I commissioned it. And Sam played it, but he didn't actually play it because his orchestra that he was going to play it with went bankrupt.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And then I ended up doing it with Leonard Slatkin and the Philharmonia Orchestra. Mm-hmm. But it was written by Dave Heath, And Dave was very enthusiastic all the time. He said, Jimmy, this is a great thing. I'm going to put a big flute solo at the beginning, alto flute at the beginning of a piece. And I imagine something like The Rite of Spring,
Yeah. Mm.
you know, but it wasn't like that. It was.
Not
That's why I bought this flute.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen, but Chris Potter is joining us here and watching. I think you know Chris Potter.
Oh, Chris knows this flute very well. Hi, Chris. She knows this flute.
Speaking of low flutes,
Love that thumb key on the alto. Well, Chris, you played that flute, I believe. Is gold flute softer, hence plays differently? Is a gold flute softer? Softer in metal or?
there's a delay, so they'll have a hard time answering you. You'll have to pick and decide.
Okay. So here we have another flute, which is also very special. It's a Muramatsu flute. It's one of the first Muramatsus that my husband got. Actually, it was a replacement from the ones that were stolen. One time we had 5 flutes stolen.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And Muramatsu flew immediately from Japan to Switzerland and brought us 3 flutes.
Mm.
Yeah, it was, and this is one of them. So I don't know if you can see what's special about this flute. Can you see what's special about this flute?
I see a ring.
A ring of diamonds. Yes, everyone should have a ring of diamonds on their flute. There is a double ring of diamonds here and another, a big diamond in the crown, actually. And down here,
Another one.
Wow.
another one. Do you want to tell the story, Sir James?
Yeah. I was playing in Australia, and in Western Australia, there's an outfit called the Argyle Diamond Company, and they wanted to give me some diamond studs for my shirt, but I don't wear those sort of shirts. So they came up with the idea, put them on the flute. Well, I was a bit afraid of, giving your flute to a diamond company, but it worked out very well because they had a guy from London living there who was a flute maker. And he put the 2 rings on the headpiece and the foot joint, and also I believe there's a head. There's a ring of diamonds here.
Oh, around the D sharp.
D sharp, yeah, but they're from Muramatsu.
Oh.
And there's engraving on the keys. If you can see those.
Oh, a little bit more to your right still. It cuts off a little bit of, yeah, there you are.
And the head and the lip plate, again, beautiful engraving on the lip.
Beautiful.
Just a second. You can't really see them, so see it.
Thank you, Sir James.
You can't really see this side with his initials on it. So, and this flute, what's so special about it is, so this flute was just brought to him after when the flutes were stolen. It was pretty upsetting. And so what we like to tell students is that people always say, oh, well, your flutes are so special because they're made for you. But they're not all made for him. He just goes in sometimes, like the 9-carat flute. You went into Muramatsu and you just said, oh, I like this flute, I'm going to buy it. Right?
Yes.
They weren't just specially made. The first flute from Muramatsu that we got, the 14-carat, that was just before we got married, remember? Went to Japan.
Yeah.
And he brought us a flute. And at our wedding, Mr. Muramatsu came and he handed us the 9-carat flute, 33333, remember?
Yeah.
So if anybody ever sees a 9-carat flute, 33333, it's ours. The 5 flutes have never turned up, and they were all very beautiful, but it's an instrument, and at least we were okay. So,
Wow.
but anyway, so that's become one of your favorite flutes. You've
Yeah,
recorded everything on that.
On that flute, I recorded some of my favorite records, like C.P.E. Bach concertos, Quantz concertos,
Mhm.
and I made 2 Australian records with Australian composers.
And you would have done most of your tours on that because you
Everything on that flute. I played that flute for maybe 25 years, something, I don't know, a long time.
long time, yeah.
I wondered if the diamonds, did they add a weight in your hands?
Of course.
No, wait. She's talking about weight. No.
I'm waiting.
No. It's weight.
No.
No,
You
they
don't
don't.
feel-
So it's, and I know a lot of people actually have written and said that, for instance, they've been gifted a ring from maybe a grandmother or something. They're thinking of putting it in their flute, and it is a nice idea. But some people just put a piece of glass in too. It depends on what you like. But we take very good care of these instruments, and we bring them to reputable shops like yours to get them fixed, and we always keep them in our hands, right? This is very important. We never keep our flutes in sight. And I think this is very important for anyone, and especially if you're going to be traveling. It's very nice to have a fancy flute bag over your shoulder. And I think when you're in high school and when you're in junior high, and then it's good. But if you're going to start going to university and start being around in big places, it's not bad to have your flute inside a bag. Because it's very easy also to lose it when you've got books and you've got everything else. And so we always keep them in nondescript bags. And that's another thing, too. We've had a few students who have gotten their bags stolen, 2 of them, that were in Louis Vuitton bags. So we don't use those things. We just keep them in nondescript bags and always in a roller bag. And we always use them. We won't give them up on airplanes either. We always carry a bag inside there. If they say this roller bag won't go on the plane, we take the flutes out. We carry them on a bag on our shoulder and go in, and also in hotels, we don't let them take them. So it's just, you're investing an awful lot, and so you want to take care of it.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure if you've said how many flutes, maybe you're not sure. How many flutes do you have?
we're not sure.
You're not sure. That's okay.
We're not sure. A lot, right?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot. I mean, the reason why is you've been interested in how the flutes work also, right? It's not just amassing a large collection.
No, each flute is different, either the scale or the keys. Or the last flute that Muramatsu made for me, they changed the thumb key.
How so?
Well,
Like the
I like the Broger style thumb.
well, like this, like your Nagahara. This is a platinum, a light platinum. We have platinum Muramatsus also. But this one, yeah, there it is.
Okay. Interesting.
And the reason being, Sir James,
I don't know. Really.
you always say it's because of the balance of the flute.
Well, it is nicer to. I play a lot of B flats with my thumb.
I do as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you'd be a fool not to off it. Anyway, so I got Muramatsu to change the thumb key
On your 24 karat flute. And that was a very interesting thing to do, because a flute maker has their own way. It took many years, and one day they changed the 24 karat flute. This is So this is a platinum Nagahara flute with gold keys, but it's a light platinum. And I think it took 5 years in discussion, Mr. Nagahara said, because he didn't want to make a Nagahara, he didn't want to make a platinum flute, because he said that, you make the platinum, and after a few years, people stop playing the platinum and they go back to the gold or they go to silver. And but what he did is he made it thin and he shaved it. So we talked to him and he'll always go like this. He took a long time making this flute. And it's an absolute beautiful instrument. You just love it. And you could hear the response on it right away. You could see how comfortable he is on it. Plays it all the time. And it's very special. You just got it fixed also, which is nice. We finally got them done because the pandemic, we were unable to get our flutes redone. And yeah, so that's one of your favorites. Then we have over here just two other gold flutes. We have a Muramatsu 18 karat, that's mine, and then also with the diamonds and with the engraving. And then we have also my Nagahara, which I like 18 karat. There's just something about it I like. You know, so, but then, you know, there's lots of stories, and I think, Heather, we'd have to probably have another whole conversation about it. But way back, for instance, there are two Powell flutes I opened up. We keep our flutes in a safe, as I explained to you. We keep them off the premises, and they're in the safe deposit box in a typical Swiss bank. You could never get in there. And and so we went over today, and I pulled out this box, and it was two Powell flutes. And this is a very important story, so I'm just going to let him finish that, and then maybe we can go to some questions.
Okay, good.
Go ahead. The Powell flutes.
What about them?
About getting them made with the gold and Mathers with the gold with Fenwick.
Oh, right.
This is very interesting.
So one day I was hanging around in my house in Berlin, and a new student arrived called Fenwick Smith. And Fenwick got his flute out and handed it to me and said, "This is the best flute in the world." I said, "You must be joking. You haven't tried the best flute yet." So he asked me if I wanted to try it. I just blew a few notes on it. Then I gave him my Cooper. And he tried that. And I said, "Fenwick, take it away for a week. I'll play your flute in the orchestra." So I did. And he came back and he said, "Jimmy, this is the best flute I've ever tried in my life." So that got back to Powell, and they started making probably a Powell Cooper, but they never told anybody they were doing it. And Mr. Cooper, he didn't insist that people did. He was happy if somebody took his idea and made something of it. So then life went on, and I said to Fenwick one day, "Hey, you know what? I could get enough gold to make 3 gold flutes, and if you're interested, I'll buy the gold. You build the flutes. You keep one flute, and I keep the other 2." So that was a deal.
Yes.
So we've got them, except they don't have head joints. Whatever happened to the head joints? There's a
They
Cooper
never
head
have.
joint on one of
No,
them.
wait. They didn't have head joints.
Oh, they didn't have head joints.
No, we just made the bodies.
We have a lot of head joints too. Yeah, so these Coopers would have been made back in the 60s, right? You were in Berlin Philharmonic.
No.
70s?
When was I in Berlin?
Well, you 77 was when you made your debut, when Annie's song came out, and you were retired from the Berlin Phil for a few years. Well, early 70s then. Or late 60s. Fenwick Smith, by the way, for some of you who don't know, was the second flutist at the Boston Symphony. Wonderful, wonderful flutist, very good friend, Mr. Gentle, and beautiful player, student of Sir James. As many of his students today are in orchestras or just loving music. So there was that question, Heather, that I saw. It was about, the woman asked also about, is the metal softer with gold? That's a big question, and you would know how to answer that. But as you know, they're made with alloys.
Right, and the metal itself is then more permeable and softer, as I understand it. But it's the softer sound and the more mellow sound that I believe more players are searching. But I think the man with the golden flute is the one to answer that.
So, but I don't know. Do you know about the percentage of alloys? And no, he's not into all that, I think.
But I can tell you one thing, we got our gold tube in England, and it was made by Johnson and Matthey, who are big gold purveyors, and they make anything you want. And I got the notion I'd like to try something else on a new idea on a flute. So I thought I'll call up Johnson and Matthey.
Yeah.
So I went around there and I showed them the flute that they'd given me from material, and they said, "Well, listen, how much gold do you want to buy for tubes?" I said, "Oh, just three times a foot and a half, something like that." And he said, "Is that all?" He said, "Listen, we don't make anything unless it's like a ton."
Oh.
So Mr. Cooper got in at the right time. But the guy who was selling it to Cooper, I think he might have been a flute player.
And you do notice a difference with the different types of gold, don't you?
Oh, sure.
And this is interesting also. In which way?
Well, some gold flutes made by certain makers that I can't
Mention.
divulge because it's top secret.
That's right.
Okay.
And we like all flute makers.
Yeah, sure. And I think this Johnson and Matthey gold was the best, and that's what when I commissioned Mr. Cooper to make a flute for me to play in the Berlin Phil, which was 69, 70.
Okay.
That's when
Right.
Fenwick came. It was to make a flute at A445. And by the way, the flutes that Fenwick made are also at A445 because he was playing in Berlin. And actually, the orchestra went up and down. Sometimes it was very sharp, sometimes it was very low. But A445 was in the middle of where they were playing.
Oh. In the middle.
Yeah, well, sure, sometimes maybe A447. I don't know.
Wow.
A443.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I hear you have a big festival this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a mini festival, a 2-day festival. That's little for us, but this was originally planned for December. But we've been trying to go to a health clinic since the pandemic started. Well, really, since we've been touring for a long time, and finally things opened up, and we got a spot in this great health clinic, which was not a health clinic with massages and all that. It was to get healthy and exercise. I think you had like 6 sessions a day, didn't you?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes like that. So this happened in December, and it was right in the middle of when the festival was, and also because of the COVID, they wouldn't let us leave for the weekend, so we had to change it to next weekend. But what it is it's a delayed party for Sir James, and as anyone knows, and I know Chris is on here, and Betsy, and people that know, we love our parties, and so we'll all be celebrating. And one of the notes that are going to go out this week, and it's a surprise for him, of course, is that you have to bring your party hat. But what we did was, as you did too, Heather, that when the pandemic started, we started the at-home video series because we're very attached to our students and younger players. And okay, it's hard for us, but I think we've got more resilience and discipline after all these years. But we think of the students that are either being homeschooled or are in school, and everything has just closed down, and to keep them encouraged. So we've gone online, and then we thought, well, you know what? Let's bring a mini festival like we do in the summer during the year to encourage. So we were planning on doing them every other month, but now we're delayed till January. So yeah, we've got 2 days, and it's really pretty full. And I think we took 18 students. So we're trying to put them all in there with their time zones. We got one from New Zealand, so we just had to write to an artist today, Kirsten McCall. And I said, Kirsten, and because he says he never says no to me, I said, can you start at 9:30 instead of 12? I said, and then you can go back to sleep. Because we have a student from New Zealand. So yeah, we've chosen these particular artists. They're very good friends. They are all artists that have grown up with my husband's learning.
Well, they're great flute players.
And great flute players, and they all play in orchestras. And this to us was very important because
But they all play in great orchestras.
Yes, I know. We're going to talk who they are. I'm just giving the background because the students are telling us, because they write to us a lot. You know, we know them since they're very young, and now they want to audition, and now auditions are open here in Europe. Well, they're open, they're closed.
Yes.
And some of them are saying, I haven't played in an orchestra in 2 years. So we thought, okay, you haven't played in an orchestra for 2 years, and you get yourself on this festival, even as an auditor, and you listen to what these flutists are saying. So now he's going to tell you about these wonderful artists.
Kirsten McCall is solo flutist of the Concertgebouw in Holland.
Gareth Davies.
Gareth Davies is solo flute in London.
That has, I believe, 2 openings.
London Symphony. And
Ulla Mühlmann.
yeah, it's in the Danish radio.
Solo flutist, and also teaches at the conservatory there. Wonderful teacher. They're all teachers also. And then we have you and I, and we have Nicola Mazzante, our resident piccoloist, who also has fantastic flute experience playing in the Maggio Musicale di Fiorentina. I learned it after all these years. There's also flute openings there. So we thought this would be great because there'll be question answers. There'll be, there's the webinar where you just have the artist and the student, but we also open up throughout the day where all the students can come on. And then we have a couple of forums. Sir James is going to give a talk on Taffnel Gobert, right?
Yes.
On how to practice. Right?
Yes. You know, I once asked Moyes what the difference was between his system and Taffnel, and without hesitation, he said, Taffnel and Gobert are much more musical.
Oh.
And I think he's right, but we don't play them musically. That's a whole mechanical thing, like next.
That's true. We put on that metronome and we just play, don't we?
Yeah, well, I'll show you how to play it with music.
So that's going to be one of the classes on Saturday, along with the students that Sir James will teach. And all of them have submitted their recordings. And we have a variety of younger players and also older players. We do not discriminate. And then the next, and I will be giving lessons there also for some of the students that maybe, for some high school students, and also for some adult learners, so that we have that nice balance, because this is also very important for them.
One thing we forgot, solo flute in Berlin Philharmonic is free.
Yes, they know the solo flute place in the Berlin Philharmonic. They've been watching your video on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, a lot of, and so the next day, this is what Sir James is going to give a talk himself, and it's entitled How to Win an Audition. I don't know if a lot of you students know, but Sir James has played in a lot of orchestras, starting at the age of 20, well, when you were very young, but your first professional engagement was 21. Sadler's Wells.
Yeah, the opera.
The opera. Then London Symphony, the Royal Philharmonic, the BBC Symphony, the Royal Opera House. Did I leave anything out? It was all what? I know we're getting to the Berlin Phil. That was then the Berlin Phil. And he'll talk about how he prepared for that. And then I'm going to give a little talk called Your Next Steps, but I'm changing that to priorities, because we're finding there's a little bit of this going on here, and priorities are very, very important, and staying the course. And we have so many students that have worked so hard, and maybe they're in their 30s now, and No, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do that. Or I'm going to wait until the Berlin Phil opens and then I'm going to take that audition. And we're going like, everything in life, as you know, Heather, is steps.
Mm-hmm.
So we just want to bring that back in focus because it has been a time of confusion for everyone. And so we've got this festival, and we tried to keep the price down as low as possible because we have to pay our team. And that's basically it. And we do this ourselves, just out of passing it on, because this great man, the legacy and his teachings. I always thought, because I get to learn them and play with him, and I thought, oh, everybody has to hear this because his approach is so simple and so direct.
Mm.
And when he talks about the balance of the flute and holding it, it makes complete sense because he doesn't move when he plays.
Right.
And dance because he can hold that flute. And lots of times I think people are moving because they're trying to figure out how to hold the flute or something.
No, they're not. They think that, if you do this, it'll impress the audience.
But you'll also explain why. This is the other thing too with your experience. And then we're going to have, a forum with all the artists together where students can ask questions and talk to them. And it gets very funny too because they take off on the conversations themselves, don't they? We do nothing. We sit there, all old friends by now. So we're bringing this in the middle of winter to start the new year off. And we hope maybe that if anyone is interested in learning the flute a bit more, that maybe you'll join us. If you go to www.galwayflutefestival.com, and and then you'll get the information. And there's and then also if you can't make it this weekend, you do have the opportunity we've extended this for 6 weeks. You can view the whole course, the 2 days, until the 28th of February. So if the dates are the 15th and 16th of January, we've been pretty generous giving you the whole next month. So, and we're gearing up for our summer course and things like that, but we are keeping things online. We just have to, because the problem is also all of a sudden these American students are going to be saving their money, booking flights, and all of a sudden the country's closed, or you have to go into a 2-week quarantine. And we think that students don't need this extra pressure.
Yes. And thank you. That was a great plug for your program this weekend. Fantastic. I'm curious what both of you feel you're most passionate about at this point in your careers.
Sir James?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't really say. I mean, everything is for me is the same. I'm not more passionate about this one or that one or this staccato or that.
No, but not just in music, but you have a lot. You're passionate about everything, actually.
Oh,
whether it's playing chess online.
Oh, great.
Until I say to him, it's 20 minutes, you have to get up and do your exercises. We want to keep Sir James fit. But you're still passionate about the flute.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been playing the flute, and I want the young students to hear this. They won't believe it. How many years, Sir James?
Well, I started when
you
I
were
was
10, 9?
9. And now I'm 82.
73 years?
Yeah, something like that.
And he still practices.
Of course.
And he still plays his Tafnel Gobert. And I'm passionate about many things, but mostly passing on all that I've been given, because I feel I'm in a very unique place, and helping the students. Because when I was young, I had these people that I didn't come from a place that we could have gold flutes and go to private music schools and stuff. I was one of 6, and worked going to college and all those things. But you learn that discipline, and here I am married to James Galway. What a unique gift! What a unique gift to be able to share with the students his teachings, but also what I've learned in the business of music. Because also I work with his managers and record contracts and all those things. So, we just share it.
Yes. I'm married to another musician, but I do wonder what it would be like being married to another flutist and another professional, the highest level flutist. What is that like, two major flutists in the same household?
I learned very early on who's the boss, and it's not me.
Are you sure?
No, not when it comes to the flute. Um, I think it works just fine, don't you?
Yeah.
My husband is a very giving person, and he loves to hear the flute. And everyone who sends him, CDs, we used to have CDs. We got boxes and boxes of flute CDs. He'd be listening to them all day. I'd be hearing all this all day, and he gets so excited. And as many people are writing, he's always been very generous with flutes and music, and not competitive. That was my first impression of him when I first met him, versus the New York background I came from, which is totally the opposite. And I just have this incredible respect for this man. So it's I give him his space and try to back him in what he does. And it's a little bit funny for me because if I'm practicing, he'll walk in and just tell me, do it like this or try that. But I know what he's saying. He's telling me he's got ears and I don't have the ears that he has. And he'll say, don't force so much there. Or meditating on this, play a tune in the beginning. And it's, but we practice in separate rooms, but we play a lot of duets and it's worked well on tour. And it's just, and we have a great time. Don't we, James?
Oh, did you just wake me up again? Yeah, we do.
You play so well together. It's that connection that people really are drawn to, of
Thank you.
spouses playing together, that mental connection and musical connection.
Yeah. I have to say, for me, it wasn't easy because it was later in life we started playing together, and it actually started by him asking me if I wanted to help at his flute class in Dublin with some of the students that needed extra help. And that's how I got more involved, because our work was separate. And he always told me when we first married, never expect to be on the platform with me or for me to pave the way for you. You have to find your own way. So that was already very clear in the beginning, and I did have to find my own way, but I did through chamber music and my New York friends and musicians, and then I kind of got busy, and then he said to me one day, well, do you want to be on tour with your trio, or do you want to be playing double concerti with me? Well, I kind of went for the double concerti. And there was the beginning when I remember being in London, and I thought the newspapers were going to say, wife, please go home. Well, I'm the wife, and it's been some flack over the years, but not really, because we just, you just play music, and you do the best you can all the time, and that's all you can do, and you find your way, and that's what we try to impart. So,
I'm curious about the places that you've been. If there's one place that really stands out, and there's a place also that you've not visited yet that you would like to.
One place that stands out in my experience is playing in Albania.
never heard that one.
No,
Yes.
I didn't.
I thought you could say Japan.
Oh. Well, we came from Zagreb in a bus with the Zagreb soloists, and as we went along the road, the bus driver stopped, and in got a woman with a basket with 2 chickens in it.
Oh,
I couldn't believe it.
And that just
And then,
stands out.
but then when we got to Albania, it was amazing, because we played in a church that still had some of the original paintings from way back. I don't know how far back, but way back.
wow.
But there's many experiences you've had.
Oh yeah,
The G7, Buckingham Palace.
yeah, that was a good one.
For me, there was so many. To stand on a stage and be out there, play a little concerto, and it's one of these outdoor BBC proms or something, and the people are clapping away while we're playing our little Rondo alla Turco or something like that. But I think for me, the highlight was playing with the London Mozart Players with Sir James conducting, and in Vienna at the Music Verein. To stand there in Vienna with the tradition of music. I'm from Long Island, and I always wanted to go to Europe as a kid. And that was my dream, was to study in Paris. My dream was to go to Europe, but I didn't have the funds and I didn't have the internet to be able to get them. So I stayed in New York, and but then I made it to Europe. And so I love the tradition here. I love to stand in the dressing rooms where that these great artists and great composers have been. I remember we were in Hamburg, and you see Gustav Mahler's picture and you see all this, and to stand in the Albert Hall, and it's been quite a nice journey, hasn't
In
it?
Hamburg,
Hamburg.
Telemann and C.P.
Yeah.
E. Bach are buried
Yes.
in the same church.
I'm just seeing a comment here, Heather, and it says that from Pat Penn that Robert Cavalli had a gold Haynes in 1950s. Yes, he did. And of course, we also know that Rudolf Kart had made some of the most beautiful instruments way back there too, also with all these beautiful engravings, right? Because a friend of ours has one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's also a question about practice. You said, of course, you practice now, and I think many people want to know, how much did you practice when you were a student, and then in
All the
orchestras,
time.
and now?
All the time. And even when I was in the Berlin Philharmonic, I still practiced. I remember one tour we went to Salzburg, and I got it in my head I should practice my scales. So I got out the Moist scale book, ABCD, and waded into that. And I mean, it really does something for your technique.
But I remember after you would be playing a concerto, and I'd come in the dressing room because I'd listen to the last piece of the performance with the orchestra. After his concerto, he would go to his dressing room, and I came in and he would be practicing. He'd be after just playing like Eber concerto or something, because he had recitals coming up the next month, and that was something that we were discussing, right? That your past with learning from different conductors, how they rehearsed, and how you brought this into your own playing with rehearsing and really practicing and being prepared, really.
Yeah, that's it. Be prepared. I did my Berlin Philharmonic audition from memory.
Really?
Yeah. And I wanted to play the Eber concerto because I just played it the night before in England. And I rolled up there, and the piano player said, "Hey, this is not a piano competition. Do you have a Mozart concerto?" Which one? And he said, "Oh, D major." So I played it. And then I was asked to wait outside. So then there were 5 of us, like Michel de Bost, Andy Blau, me, and another 2 I've forgotten. And they said, "Okay, one after the other, from right to left. William Tell."
Oh.
And I still played everything from memory.
And in front of each other?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, that's how to sort it out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's how to sort it out. No screen or anything. I see there's a question if we're coming to the NFA convention. We've been invited, actually, but no, we have no plans to travel at the moment. We take this pandemic very seriously. And we have not traveled on an airplane since we left America in March 2020. We just feel it's too risky. I was about to go to London a couple of weeks ago, but then the Omicron decided to visit. So we're going to stay safe. And so unfortunately, we won't be there. I was talking about doing some live streaming, but we'll be doing some other things during the summer. So maybe you can catch us there, which would be great. We'd love to be there. It's a big anniversary year, and we were invited, but I don't know how they could have a convention in the pandemic, but that's not up to me.
Well, safety first, absolutely.
Yeah, well, we hope that things will be better, but we're not into playing with flute masks. I feel bad for a lot of the students. Heather, you would know this. A lot of the students have to play with masks over their flutes.
Yes. We do sell some of those, and I have one myself, and some groups I've played in use them. I call them a necessary evil.
What's it like? I mean, how can your sound is going into a bag. It must be quite difficult.
You do hear yourself louder, for good and for bad. But the ones that we sell, a lot of them have wires that keep it off your face.
Oh, okay.
So that does help you to be able to play. My
Yeah.
biggest challenge, I think, besides hearing myself louder than I'm used to, is the temperature change makes intonation tricky. Once you put
Ooh.
it in, it warms up quite quickly. So you have to tune warmed up and then make sure it's warmed up when you play. Otherwise, it will drift quite a bit.
I gotta tell you the story of the flying head joint.
Oh,
Oh,
the flying head joint, yeah.
We were on tour in Germany, and the program had that Quantz G major.
Mhm.
And I don't know whether you're familiar with the music, but the
a bit.
last page has something like 10 bars rest, and then the first subject comes again. So I thought, oh, it's a bit sharp, so I decided to pull a headpiece out. And when I did, the barrel came off on the headpiece.
Oh no.
This was his new 24 karat Muramatsu flute, and I think it was one of the first ones they made.
Ah.
Anyhow,
And you-
Jeanne was in the wings and she saw what was happening on the
It
TV.
was very strange.
So she came out with another flute. Of course, the audience thought this was some sort of
I just walked
publicity
out with
gag.
a flute and took the other one and left.
A planned
So-
shtick.
I got this flute to a good flute maker in Lucerne, who's Muramatsu trained, and he soldered it back on again. So here we were in Stuttgart in the Liederhalle, beautiful concert hall, and came this bit again with a and I thought, okay, I want to really get this. And I went, but when I went, the head joint sprang off
No.
onto the floor, and I just managed to stop it falling right into the audience.
And recently I had a bite to eat with Karl-Heinz Schütz, the principal solo flutist of the Vienna Philharmonic, and after a concert, and I was talking to him, and he says, "You probably don't remember meeting me at this concert." He says, "It was the one when the head joint went flying onto the stage, but your husband grabbed it before it went off on the thing." I said, "You were there?" And that reminded us of the story of the flying head joint. So the flute went back to Muramatsu, and
They gave me another
he
one.
said, "I don't want to know about this flute," and
Jinx.
he got another one. But apparently, and Heather, you probably know, the soldering it was very difficult. They said because the soldering of the 24 karat, I
Mhm.
think at that time, because there is where you're dealing with soft metals. And
Yes.
24 carats are nice flutes. They are heavy, but they're nice, really beautiful sound. But I do want to say that we do have silver flutes, and both of us started on very inexpensive instruments, and just have worked our way over the years. And as my husband has always said, when his friends in the orchestras would buy a car, he would buy a flute. But that's why he has the flutes. And I have a wonderful Haynes flute that you had Cooper change for me and engrave my initials when we were
Yeah.
dating, remember?
It's probably one of the best Haynes in the world.
And Haynes was his first flute, but your first flute was a...
E.J. Albert. Oh, first flute was a Selmer,
Ah, yes.
gold seal. And it had this huge G sharp key, which I think probably belonged to a clarinet.
Or someone with a short pinky.
I think they use that because they're so big.
Mhm.
Anyhow, then my dad somehow or other procured a really good flute made by E.J. Albert in Brussels.
Mhm.
And I played that until halfway through my first or second year in college, the Royal
Oh.
College, when I got enough money to buy a Haynes. And I bought a Haynes closed hole, offset G, low C,
Mhm.
and that was it. I
Hmm.
played that one until I'm trying to remember. Oh, I played it until I was 1 year in the opera,
So when you were in Paris, studying in Paris, that was a flute you used.
Yeah.
So you had a closed hole Haynes flute.
Yeah.
And what did the other students in Paris at the time have?
Oh, quino and sort of rubbish.
Heather, also I wanted to tell you, probably noticed, we have no gadgets on our flutes.
Mhm.
We have no thumb things and no rests or anything. The only extra key that we'll have is the C sharp trill.
Mm,
But Sir James really believes in being able to get your fingers down here,
mm.
and being able to slide and training your fingers that way. And our flutes don't have split E's, do they?
No.
No, either. We
I
grew
think-
up in a time when we learned when either you played the E or you didn't.
I think this question came up once before, and I thought, I don't know if I have split E. So I looked through my flutes and I saw one. Split E. I tried. Said, oh, it doesn't make any difference. And it wasn't engaged. It was on a split E, you could move it on or off.
I think,
It was off.
but you also believe, and this is interesting for students who upgrade on flutes, that less gadgets on the flute is better. You
Yeah.
believe that, right?
Absolutely.
Sorry, Heather, we don't want to take away from the business of buying flutes, but it's just, especially for someone young, learn to play the instrument, learn how to move that embouchure, and you will learn how to play high E, and you'll learn how to go from E to A natural and back. And if you come and study with us, we'll show you how. But no, or learn with Heather; she'll show you how. Also.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that plug. Well, this has been a lovely hour together. And I know it's getting a bit late in Switzerland. We must have you again. There's so much more we can talk about.
Yes.
please play.
Yes. Play Telemon. We'll do a duo for you next
You
time.
can do it on this.
Oh,
I will hold you to that.
yeah, but I can't. We're in different keys. I can't. We'll work it out.
Same thing as me 1 bar later.
Yeah, I know that. You want to play it?
Sure.
There's always time for
I
a
was going to
duet.
play it on a tin whistle bean.
You can play it on the thing that I'm getting my flute.
Back to the flute.
Can't find the flute.
I'm playing along, but maybe not the same key.
No, it's in D.
Take it.
Then it becomes more complicated.
How about the Bedina early? Do you remember that?
I remember it, but I don't remember it, if you see what I mean. No, I think we should wrap it up. It's enough.
Yeah, we actually have to practice because we're teaching at the weekend.
Well, we do always spend, if you have just a minute, we do always end with a Flutespresso Express round, which this time I've changed to a special Galway edition, which I'm doing Flutespresso favorites, where I'm going to just ask for your favorite, and you can just give me both, or if only one of you wants to answer your favorite of what I say, and you don't have to explain it. You can just answer and we move to the next one. So it's like a lightning round. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Beautiful. So your favorite warm-ups.
Go ahead.
Taffin go bear. Moist, sonore.
Your favorite technique exercises.
Taffin go bear.
Moist daily exercises.
Moist daily exercises.
A moist grad liaison.
Yep.
Those are great. And your daily warm-up, the James Galway ones that he has to publish.
Yes. Favorite flutist to listen to, of course, besides yourselves.
Oh,
That's
hard.
difficult because so many of my friends play so great.
We like to listen to our students.
Ah, good answer. Good answer. How about, do you have a favorite solo with piano accompaniment?
Yeah, I think I have three piano players that I really enjoy.
No, favorite solo with piano
Oh,
accompaniment.
favorite. So,
Yeah.
That's hard.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Beat or suite.
That's a tough one. I couldn't even.
Not many people can play it.
No, but it's so many beautiful. I still want you to play Rosolka for me on the flute.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay. So,
How about favorite concerto?
Mozart D
not
major.
a D major.
D major.
A Chimarosa for me.
Second flute.
Second flute. That's
Yes.
okay. I get a solo or two.
Yes. Let's see here.
Oh,
Favorite duet to
CPE
play?
Bach. CPE Bach.
What?
They would be your favorites.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, what did I say?
You said Mozart.
Oh, well.
I know.
Mozart and CPE Bach.
There we go. You're allowed many favorites.
Yeah.
How about your favorite duet to play together?
How about what?
Favorite duet to play together. We like our Mozart these
Yeah,
days,
the
don't we?
F
The F
major
major
duet.
Mozart, because that's what we used to play when we were dating.
Oh, flute love. Uh, is there perhaps a most memorable or favorite conductor that you've played under?
Yeah, Herbert von
We
Karajan,
were talking about that.
Lauren Mazel, James Levine.
James Levine, that was special.
Tons of them.
Yes. And you've recorded, I believe, is it 98 CDs?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, we've got a favorite. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I like the CPE Bach concerti.
If you haven't heard these are very, very special. They're my favorites. Very favorite.
Well, that's what I'll be listening to this afternoon, and hopefully I won't be the only one then. Do you have a favorite venue to play in?
Home.
I mean, not in pandemic times.
It used to be home. We used to say home, but now we're home.
Yeah.
Favorite venue.
Yeah, there's such a great many concert halls which are just brilliant. It's very difficult to say. But I mean, I could name a few.
Japan.
In Japan, it's very difficult to find a bad concert hall.
Yeah.
The Suntory.
I don't think
Concert
they
Hall.
have. The Suntory Hall's absolutely great.
You used to
the-
like that hall in Nottingham or somewhere, remember?
Yes. I'm trying to think of one in Ann Arbor.
Oh, in Ann Arbor, the
Yeah, that's a good
Hill
one.
Auditorium.
Hill Auditorium, yes.
And at one point, Sir James had sold out. What was it that you and Philip Mole had sold the most amount of tickets for your recitals?
Yeah.
So there you go, flute players. We made it. Flute made it, and we were supposed to be playing there when that tour got cut short in March. So, and of course, we like the concert halls in Iowa.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Chicago has a great venue.
Yes.
Lucerne has a wonderful concert hall.
Yeah.
Vienna,
Piano.
Hamburg.
Yeah. This. The New Year's concert from Vienna. Well, I played a flute and piano recital in that hall, and it was completely sold out.
Wow.
We played the Chimarosa and got a standing ovation and had to play the last movement again. That was my big thing in Vienna.
Oh, that's a big moment. Oh, fantastic. So, a favorite major celebrity maybe that you've met?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I would say Arnold.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Judi Dench for me.
Ah.
Oh, Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. My Liam Neeson story when I was speechless.
Oh yeah. We
But
were.
Roger Moore also. Remember we met him?
Yeah.
When he said Lady Galway, I almost fell over, you know. And then the next statement was, I don't know if you ever saw any of the Bond movies. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Jeannie did a lot of that,
Yeah,
especially when she met Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
We were coming home.
And we were going to record. We were going to record Lord of the Rings, and
Oh, that's right.
he didn't want to record the Lord of the Rings, and I only wanted to go because we could fly on the Concorde over to London, and London's one of my favorite places. So, but then he decided not to take the Concorde, so we took BA, and we were sitting there in first class because, of course, they sent us over to do Lord of the Rings, and my husband says to me, Liam Neeson up front. I went, oh my God, it's Liam Neeson. And I said, I got to meet Liam Neeson. And they know each other because they're both from Northern Ireland, so they know each other very well. And so comes Liam Neeson past us in his first class pajamas. I mean, even Liam Neeson looked great in his pajamas. And he says to me, Liam, I'd like you to meet my wife, Jeanne. And I went, I'm such a fan, like this. And he's looking at me going, and I was so like, I couldn't speak. I just couldn't speak it was so funny, huh?
But you recovered.
I recovered, yes, I recovered.
It's hard to imagine you speechless. Oh, let's do one more here. Oh, this is a fun one to end on, I think. If you could instantly and safely transport anywhere else in the world right this moment, where would you go?
Where would I go?
Where would you go?
You know, I think I would go to Ireland.
I knew you were going to say Ireland. I'd go to Ireland too. Although I miss New York. Miami Beach sounds nice too, doesn't it?
What's the matter with a rainy day in Dublin?
No. Ireland. Actually, we had a wonderful birthday for you, your 80th birthday at Ashford Castle. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could study archery. So Our Lady here, she got going with a bow and arrow. Bang. Bullseye first time.
Really?
Me, I couldn't even hit the target.
You can't see that far. Of course, but we got some good photos of us looking very professional playing archery. And it was his 80th birthday, and I wanted to take him somewhere special. So we went over to the west coast of Ireland, and we do have very good friends, and we would like to go there. It's just beautiful with the beaches, and it's just so relaxing. So it is one of the first places we're hoping to go when we can start traveling again. And of course, back to America to see all our friends, because it has such a place in our hearts, right, Jimmy? You have so many years and so many friends.
Been too long.
Yeah.
Been too long.
Well, hopefully, if you do make it back to Ann Arbor, maybe we can see you then. And
Yes.
And before that, we'd love to have you back again. This was wonderful. Maybe you'll show off some archery skills next time.
Yes, we'll send you a picture of us playing archery. It's
I
very.
would love that.
I will. We look really professional. And the problem is, though, I don't think you know this, but my husband can't see distances. So even when he's on the stage, he can't see past what, the first row,
Yeah, that's right.
second row or something in the concert hall. Even though I know, ladies, you all think he's looking at you. He is actually, but he can't see that far. And so it was a little hard to see the target, right? But we had a good time.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here today.
One thing I want to mention too that I think is really important is the art of giving. And we do this very quietly, but I think for students, or if there are people who have instruments that they don't use, there's many foundations that take them. We've always wanted to. We haven't yet started, and the pandemic got in the way with our Flutes in Little Hands project. But we do try to get instruments into the hands of kids that can't afford them. And I think it's really important if somebody has an old instrument laying in the flute in their cupboard, or if there's somebody there who wants to get an instrument for a kid, that the art of giving back is so important.
Wonderful. That's a great way for us to end this, the art of giving back. And thank you for giving so freely of your time today.
Thank you, Heather.
And we will say Facebook ended up canceling our event, so we only went live on YouTube. Thank you for those who found us on YouTube, and we'll post on Facebook later as well. Thank you for joining us and sticking with us, and thank you to Sir James and Lady Galway.